Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. I am very pleased to introduce today's fourth demo of the day with Axonify. Drive business results with your frontline in just 5 minutes a day. JD Dillon, Chief Learning Architect at Axonify, is going to guide us through Axonify's demo. So I am passing it over to you, JD, to take it away.
Thanks, Alexandria. Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Before we get started, I have a very important question for you. What did you have for dinner last Tuesday? Now think about it. Think about it while we talk. We're going to come back to that question at the end of our story. But anyway, I'm JD. I'm the CLO of Axonify. I've been in L&D for almost 20 years at this point. I was with Disney for 10 years in operations and L&D roles before going to Kaplan for 6 years and eventually jumping into learning tech with Axonify. So thanks for hanging out with me today to learn a little bit about what we do. Thanks to ATD for inviting me to share our story. And let's go ahead and dive right in. Screen shared. So I have lots of info I want to share with you and 30 minutes to do it. So be sure to go ahead in the chat, ask questions as we go. I have a few people here with me from Axonify who are going to be responding in the chat, and let's get one of their attention right now. So go ahead in the chat. Everyone say hi to Matt. Matt's here. Matt's going to answer a bunch of questions for you. If you don't get your questions answered directly, feel free to send me an email, jdillon@axonify.com. I'm really easy to find on the internet. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about frontline workers, the people who do the heavy lifting within our organizations every day. So this includes retail associates, delivery drivers, manufacturing workers, grocery clerks, healthcare workers, contact center agents, so many more. They're the main characters of our story today. And this frontline workforce makes up about 80% of global employees. And the unfortunate reality is that most don't get the support they need to do their best work. And it's not necessarily because we don't understand the importance and the role that they play within our organizations. It's because it's hard to enable frontline workers, especially when you have limited L&D resources. And that's because frontline workers, they're distributed across locations and states and regions and countries. You know, they're onboarded quickly and pushed into the job because the operation only hires and trains as many people as they need to run the business. You know, these workers are heavily reliant on their managers for support. They don't necessarily even work for your company. They really work for their manager. And unfortunately, a lot of managers are burned out right now, upwards of 50%, because of how overburdened they've been for the last couple of years. Frontline workers are operationally focused, which means they don't have a lot of time or autonomy to just step away from the job to go complete an extra task or to take some additional training. Plus, because they're often paid hourly, they can't do a lot of work off the clock like salaried employees can. And also, frontline workers come from diverse backgrounds, a wide variety of experiences and motivations and language preferences, and so many other factors that make it challenging to provide right fit support. And unfortunately, frontline workers experience the lowest levels of engagement and the highest amount of turnover in the workplace. Some of the organizations I've worked with have 100%, 200%, 700% turnover in some of their locations. And I faced all of these challenges when I supported hospitality workers at Disney and then at Kaplan supporting contact center agents. And if you support any kind of frontline team, you know what these challenges feel like and how daunting they can be. But it's our job as L&D pros to make sure everyone, regardless of role, tenure, location, gets the best possible support so they can do their best work. But even the best of intentions makes it still hard to overcome these challenges because there are just too many stakeholders, too many compliance requirements, too many problems that need solving. And it's just a really hard math problem. And that's why we built Axonify. So we've been working on this math problem for 12 years with frontline teams around the world. And today, about 4 million frontline workers use Axonify to learn, connect, and get things done on the job. 83% of those workers engage on average 2 to 3 times per week in Axonify, which is almost every shift when you consider both full and part-time workers. And Axonify is used in over 160 countries and translated into more than 60 languages. So we support frontline teams across all types of industries, from retailers like Foot Locker and Lowe's and Walmart, grocers like Kroger and Giant Eagle, pharmaceutical companies, financial services firms, plenty more. And what's interesting is these organizations all have different challenges when it comes to enabling frontline performance, but they all believe that frontline workers deserve a right fit enablement experience. And before I show you what that experience looks like, there's one more thing I want to dive into. It's one of the numbers on the slide right now. It's that 83%. How do we get so many frontline workers with so little time in their day to engage almost every day in learning activities? The challenge with answering that question is I don't have a simple answer. So what you're going to see is a blend of technology and content design to shape a learning experience that goes beyond the traditional learning management system to fit the unique needs of the frontline workforce. And what I'm going to show you is how Axonify blends learning into the busy frontline workflow in just a few minutes a day without causing operational disruption. How we personalize that experience for hundreds of thousands of people using data and artificial intelligence. How we help people get the answers they need without making them click through a bunch of different locations and search through different knowledge bases. How we provide access to the largest library of frontline content anywhere and give you the ability to customize it. How we wrap all this in an engaging experience that builds the habit of learning and brings people back every day. And how we make all of this available on the devices people already use on the job, including their personal devices, if that's the option that you want to provide. Now, I've been with Axonify for 8 years at this point. And one of the coolest things about how we build this experience is that we do it in partnership with companies like you. Many of the features you're going to see today started as ideas from our customers, because who knows the frontline experience better than you? So let's see what it's like to become an Axonified employee. Now, we have limited time, so what we're going to do today is focus on what it's like to use Axonify on the job as a frontline worker and a manager. So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. I'm serious. Go ahead, close your eyes. And imagine that your name is Sam, and you're a brand new associate at Galaxy Grocer, your neighborhood grocery store. Now go ahead, open your eyes, because it's time for your Axonified onboarding experience. So here you can see on screen, we have our branded login screen. So everything that you see today from Axonify is available on a mobile device. So in fact, about 60% of sessions in Axonify take place on a mobile device. And here you can also see that you can log in using a variety of different credentialing schemes. So if you have single sign-on, we can make sure that employees don't have to remember multiple different credentials. We can make it as easy as possible to access the learning experience. So since, again, our name is Sam, it's our first day on the job, we're going to log in to Axonify to start our new hire training. And we're greeted with a video welcome message, because again, we're brand new to the company. And I just wanted to show you the fact that this video can be captioned. It can be captioned manually, automatically, in all of the languages that the platform is available in. So those are options for you. Various messaging tools you'll see inside of Axonify. So after we watch our welcome to the company video, we're going to dive in to our onboarding path. Now, the idea behind Axonify is instead of forcing people to click around to find what they have to do today, we always put the most important activities right up front to nudge people to complete the right types of training based on where their needs may be. So we're going to dive into our onboarding path for today. Because it's our first time in Axonify, you're going to see a couple of tooltips pop up along the way to make sure we understand how to take advantage of the platform. And then here you're going to see our onboarding path, which includes a blend of different types of activities we're going to complete as part of our new hire training. So as an example here, we see this onboarding overview topic. If we go ahead and start that topic, it's actually going to launch us into an Articulate Rise module in this case that we might be able to click through. So this content could be uploaded directly to Axonify, or maybe it's being pulled from another source like a content library or maybe another learning management system. Here you'll see we also have tasks inside of our blended learning path that maybe we're going to complete those tasks once we unlock that task with the previous activities. Maybe we're going to go out on the floor with our trainer and complete some hands-on job training. We also have events within our path that we can sign up for. Maybe we're going to be enrolled by our administrator or enrolled by our manager in those events, whether they take place virtually or maybe they take place in a classroom setting. You'll notice here towards the bottom of our path, there's a certification topic. This is our compliance training. So we're going to make sure that, one, you get your compliance training done on time, and then Axonify is going to automate the recurrence of that compliance training to make sure that maybe you have to complete it once per year or once every couple of months. We'll make sure you get that done on time without having to be chased down. And then at the bottom here, you see we have an evaluation. So we're going to have to complete that evaluation with our manager, and that's going to take place on the job to make sure we can apply everything that we've learned doing new hire training and that we're ready to go on the job in real life. And then throughout the path, you'll notice that there are these flags right here called milestones. So what these are doing is setting the timing of our training to make sure we stay on track and don't fall behind based on how quickly we're expected to complete our training. Or if we do start to fall behind, we'll make sure that we flag the right people who can step in and help out if we're starting to slide and maybe not going to complete training by the expected timeline. So let's go ahead, let's complete a topic in Axonify. We're gonna work on this topic here called Cashier Workstation Setup. So I'm gonna go ahead and click Start, and you'll see it's a video-based module. So it could have been a SCORM module, XAPI module. In this case, it is a video. And yes, as an administrator, you have the ability to control if I can scrub to the end of the video, or maybe do I have to be required to watch all of the content? That's entirely up to you. So once we watch the video, we then have to answer a series of questions. Now, this is more than a test. Essentially, what we're doing here is, one, making sure that we walk away with an understanding of the key information from the video, so we understand the most important pieces of information we need to apply on the job. So let's see here. If your cash register has a conveyor belt, what should you do when helping a customer? Ask them to push the items towards you, wait for the items to reach you so you can scan them, reach for the items so you can scan them quicker. Shout your answer out loud. I can't hear you. That's okay. I'm going to guess the second answer. I'm mildly confident. And I got it right. So in addition to making sure we walk away with the information we need from the training, we're also establishing our baseline level of knowledge and capability for this topic. So we're going to use this data that we're picking up right now to personalize the ongoing learning experience. And you'll see that come to life in just a couple of minutes. So here's our second question. When you're setting up your workstation at the cash register, what should you do? Since we're short on time today, I'm just going to guess the third answer. I'm not very confident because I didn't read it. Oh, I got it wrong. So again, we're making sure that we understand where Sam is struggling and where Sam's picking things up quickly so we can adapt the learning experience as we move forward. Now, we likely would have answered more questions than that, but it's a pretty quick demo today. But once we've completed our topic in this case, we completed the content, completed our assessment, we can go back in and work on more items in our path. Or maybe that's all we're going to do for right now because we're going to go out with our trainer, do some hands-on training on the floor. So we're going to click Done. And you'll notice that once we've engaged with our path for the day, we've unlocked a lot of other elements of Axonify. So we've earned some achievements, and then we have some additional content and additional features that are now active because we completed our assigned training for that day. Now, we're going to see more of that experience in just a minute, but I wanted to give you a sense of the structured training side of Axonify, which looks probably a lot like your learning management system experience, but with a few adjustments along the way to make it that much more frontline friendly. So now what I want you to do, I want you to close your eyes again. Okay, so because we're traveling through time this time, we completed that onboarding path that we just talked about. That was 6 months ago at this point. And since then, we've been on the job. We've been doing a great job. So well, in fact, we were recently cross-trained into the produce department in the store as well. Now go ahead, open your eyes. And here we are back at the Axonify login screen. But just like our job has changed, the way that we use Axonify has changed too. Because every shift, we clock in for our shift, and then we log into Axonify for just a couple of minutes before we go out onto the retail floor. So let's log into Axonify as if we're an employee's a bit experienced, but still using Axonify to continue to refine their knowledge and skill and grow their knowledge and skill to open more opportunities. So you see here, we're met with a broadcast message with a timely company update, including details, in this case, about our holiday hours. So we can click here, reveal more information about this particular update. The idea here behind the broadcast is we make sure the most people possible get that critical information without having to rely on games of telephone, cascading information, or paper postings in the break room. And what's cool is that you as an administrator can track the reach of these different types of messages, make sure the right people are receiving them, or maybe send out a nudge reminder to make sure people get this critical information that they need on the job. So we've read our message, we're going to click Done, and now we're going in for our daily training activity. So what happens here is Axonify looks at our profile, all of our training completions, our current knowledge levels, behavior observations that may have been collected by our management team, performance results if we have KPIs on the job. And what Axonify does is determines where should we focus our limited learning time today. So for example, if maybe there's a compliance training coming due, we might prioritize that automatically to make sure it gets done so our manager doesn't have to chase us down to complete it. Or if there's a new process or a new product released, we may get new introductory training on that pushed in our direction today, because that's the most important thing we have going on. In this case, we don't have anything new or anything coming due. So what we're going to do is a quick reinforcement activity. So the idea is that in just a couple of minutes, we're going to make sure that the information from past training is reinforced. So that's top of mind no matter when we received that training. So maybe information from our onboarding, or maybe information from our recent cross-training into a new department. I'll show you what that looks like. So let's start our daily reinforcement session. So in this case, you see we have the option to play a game as part of our daily training, but the gameplay isn't really part of the learning per se. So what we're doing is we're using the concept of gameplay for a couple of reasons. One, it does add a level of fun and potentially competition to the learning experience. You can challenge coworkers to high score competitions and win points that way. But it also sets people into what we refer to as a state of flow. And you know what I mean if you've ever tried to interrupt someone or get someone's attention when they're playing a game. It's hard, right? So we're using that same idea, but we're using it to our advantage to help people focus on the learning experience. So let's dive in. We're going to play a game called Memory Cards. You've probably played this game in your past. Essentially, we're matching like cards, and we're doing it as quickly as we can because all the gameplay timing is set pretty short because we want to make sure this session's completed in about 3 minutes or so. So let's go ahead and click play now. In this case, I'm trying to find like cards, and if I match a card that has a question on the back, I reveal one of our reinforcement questions. So here you can see I have a question about how do I eliminate unnecessary strain on my arms when I'm working as a cashier. So this is reinforcing that training that we got when we first were hired to make sure we remember that top of mind and apply it on the job. So in this case, I'm going to use the handheld scanning gun for large or heavy items. Highly confident. Got it right. Earned some additional rewards points and continue on. You'll notice the game paused while we were in the answer screen, but we only have 20 seconds left. So I'm going to have to move pretty quickly. Feel free to scream out at your desk if I'm just blatantly missing things as I rifle my way through. Think I got another one. I got two. Doing pretty well. Our CEO is ridiculous at this game. Never played Carol at Memory Cards. What should we do if you suspect someone has stolen items from your store? So this is a timely topic in retail around loss prevention. I'm going to say, I'm going to notify the manager or security person immediately. Got that one right. Moving on, we have 13 seconds left in gameplay, and I'm actually going to let the game finish out. Because the idea here is you don't have to be great at gameplay. You could skip the game if you would like. Or maybe if you're just not doing a great job in today's Memory Cards game, you're going to still have to answer the questions or complete all of the content as part of the session. So see here, a lot of Sam Taylors in my workplace. I have one question left to answer before our session's complete. So in this case, I was just cross-trained in produce, so I have to answer a question about how to properly stock bananas in the produce department. So I don't know a ton about bananas personally. I'm going to guess crowns up in one layer, not really confident. Got it right. Got that one right. So moving forward, so we've completed our daily training session for the day. And now, as I said, we've unlocked the rest of the Axonify experience. So let's take a bit of a tour around the hub of Axonify to show you some of the other capabilities and features. So here you see we have an announcement, so additional communication tools that you can use to get people's attention. In this case, we had a record-breaking toy drive. So some of those nice to know pieces of information, not as critical as the broadcast message we hit in the beginning of our demonstration, but still an important piece of information. Here we have a pulse survey, so a way to, again, collect data and sentiment analysis off of individual employees to understand, in this case, are we ready for the upcoming holiday period? So in this case, I'm kind of ready for the upcoming holidays. And if I had any additional thoughts, I can send that information in as well, and then submit that information or skip this step. And I've earned some points by responding to the survey in this case. As we scroll down, we can see there's actually some tasks assigned to me with regards to weekly inventory. You can also use Axonify as a task management tool for different maybe learning related or operational related tasks. We have some additional training activities I'm working on around career planning. I can track my progress and how I'm doing in all the topics that I'm working on. Some recommended content, so some job aids or maybe other course materials that are particularly relevant to me, my role, and my team. We can check out how we're performing on the leaderboard, see some upcoming events that we might be able to register for, or maybe go back and check out our messages that we've received in the past. Up here, we have our timeline. So our individual team might have a dedicated kind of social feed where we share different celebrations that are going on, different important updates. If you maybe want to share a post because you have a really interesting idea to share, something interesting happened on the job that day, you have the ability to engage in social exchanges here on the timeline. And there's one other thing I definitely want to get to, which is our rewards engine. So as we've noticed across the way when we answered questions, completed content, when we were working on our milestones and our onboarding path, we were earning points. Where do the points go besides populating us on the leaderboard? Well, we can use those points to turn them in for tangible rewards. So in this case, we might be able to bid on different prizes. So there's bidding on a priority parking space in the parking lot. We might be able to engage in a raffle. So put our points in for a raffle for a team pizza party or some company swag. So a variety of ways to turn the kind of continuous effort that people are making and coming into Axonify every day and making sure they develop their knowledge and skill and take that effort and turn it into tangible rewards to recognize them for that continuous effort. So it's kind of an interesting idea. And again, ideas that are all born from working with our customers. So the idea here is that you've completed this, typical session in Axonify takes about 5 minutes. So usually you complete your daily training, check your updates, check your timeline, see where you are with a rewards auction that you're particularly interested in, log out, go out, and start doing your job in the grocery store. But the cool thing about Axonify is you may come back to Axonify multiple times throughout your day because it's a tool that you're using as part of your day-to-day work. So here we can see there are quick links on the top of the screen. So maybe Axonify is that front door access point to different types of tools. So maybe that's how you find your schedule or the weekly promotional flyer. So easy to find those pieces of information or other tools you use on the job. You may come into the Discover area and search for some additional content, additional training opportunities, or maybe a job aid that you need to answer a quick question. Or maybe if you don't want to go looking for information and you just want to get an answer to a particular question, you can talk to Max. So Max is our digital assistant tool that essentially looks at your company information. So all of the resources you have available within Axonify. It does not go out to the internet and find random information because we don't want the large language model to lie to you. And essentially answers questions using your company's proprietary information. So let's say, again, we're working in the produce department and a customer comes up to us and asks us a question about cheese and wine pairings. I don't know about you. I know nothing about cheese. I know nothing about wine. So instead of having to go find someone to answer that question for us, let's just ask Max, what's a good cheese to pair with a Chardonnay? I have no idea. So Max is going to scrape all the information that's available in our knowledge base about this topic and provide an answer. So in this case, he provides a bit of background on Chardonnay and then matches up with maybe a semi-hard cheese like a buttery cheddar or Havarti. This is like speaking a different language to me. I have no idea what's going on, but it's just a quick example of how we can leverage those on-demand knowledge resources you have within Axonify to provide direct answers to questions in the flow of work that people need. So you can see that Axonify in this way is more than the Frontline employees learning management system. It really is a digital companion that helps us learn, connect, and get the right things done every shift. So that's a quick look at the user experience of Axonify, but as Sam, the grocery employee, we're not the only ones using Axonify on the job. Axonify is also being used by our management team. So in this case, our managers are also using Axonify as their learning management system. They're completing their professional development and certification activities there as well. But they're also using an area of the platform that we have called Leader Zone. So this is going to give you a bit of a glimpse into the reporting capabilities of Axonify. So here we've landed on the actionable insights area of Leader Zone. So you'll see all these red flags right here. These are nudging the manager to talk to these individual employees to make sure they complete different types of activities. So in this case, we have people who haven't logged into the platform for a while. This is a demo environment, so make sure, take all the numbers with a grain of salt. Maybe they have an upcoming certification training that's coming due. So a variety of ways to make sure managers don't have to, dig into the data and mine that all from themselves to find who to have those coaching conversations with. We can nudge people in the right directions. We can also go into our user metrics area. So in this case, a manager could do a quick checkup on how their team is doing within Axonify. So who is engaged, maybe who is not participating in training, who might need coaching on a particular topic, who's maybe underconfident, overconfident, or has an upcoming certification that's due. Who's falling behind on a milestone? And also, who should we recognize? Who's gained expert level status? Maybe who's graduated a new topic? So different ways for managers to use data and insights collected by Axonify to inform how they support their teams. And then managers can also use Axonify to dig into individual user profiles, enroll team members in training events, send employees direct messages, complete behavior observations. So there's a lot of different tools that frontline managers can use to improve how they support their teams. And the last one I want to show you is our impact tool. So essentially what impact is doing is taking your business data, combining it with your learning and development data, and identifying where should managers focus their conversations with their teams in order to have the greatest possible impact on the outcomes for their business. So it'll show you if you're falling behind or exceeding in different KPIs, and then nudge the manager in the direction to say, well, if you have your team focus on this area of training or have them complete some additional information in this particular area, it's not just for the sake of training, it'll actually help you improve your business outcomes. So that just gives you a quick glimpse of the manager tools within Axonify that are being used to support the frontline workforce, and a glimpse of what some of our reporting looks like from an administrative side, because you get access to a lot more data when you're on the administrative side of the Axonify experience. So that is, again, just a quick look at Axonify's capabilities. So hopefully you'll agree with me when I say that, amazing technology is amazing, but what really matters is results. And I'm very proud to say that Axonify, in all of my experiences, it actually works. And we see great results across Axonified organizations, everything from reducing onboarding time, increasing compliance, boosting sales, reducing shrink, decreasing safety incidents. And what it comes down to is the methodology behind the Axonify experience is proven to sustain that right knowledge, boost the right skills, change the right behaviors, and ultimately drive results. And before I joined the team, I was actually the 7th Axonify customer. So I've seen this stuff work from both sides of our story. But there's one more thing I want to get to. I know we've got less than 5 minutes left because we talked all about technology so far, but technology can only be as impactful in learning and development when it's delivering the right type of content. So let's spend a minute talking about content. And of course, you can bring all of your existing content into Axonify, so your existing courses, job aids, videos, all of those types of tools. But what we also do is provide you with a set of tools to help you improve your content strategy using our proven microlearning methodology. So just a couple examples of how we do that. First, we have our content assistant, which is our own large language model that we use to build the types of questions that you saw in our demonstration today from your company source information. So your IDs are always going to have to review and release the information before it gets to your employees. But essentially what our content assistant does is it makes you 30% faster at developing this type of content using generative AI. Then we have our content marketplace. So this includes over 800 topics built for the frontline, including videos, reinforcement questions, and support resources. And we have specialty catalogs for retail, for grocery, for finance, manufacturing, hospitality, and more industries. And we're constantly adding to our catalog based on customer requests. So we got a lot of content that's built for the Axonify platform using our methodology, ready to go to help with some of those more common learning and performance challenges. And then there's one more cool thing that I want to show. It's our content studio. And I've honestly never seen anything like this before, because you know how off-the-shelf content can sometimes be kind of meh, because it's not necessarily built for you. It doesn't match your processes, your brand, your feel. Well, we've solved for that with Content Studio. So let's say that maybe you're in the Axonify marketplace and you find a topic that you want to use, but it's built for an office-based workforce, and you need it for a grocery team, or you need it for a hotel chain. So essentially what we've done with Content Studio in partnership with Vyond is take those hundreds of ready-to-go video-based topics and allow you to customize them by giving you access to the authoring tool so you can adjust them for your company's needs. So here you see in real time, we're adjusting the video to match your setting, your colors, your uniform look, your props. So Content Studio accelerates your development time by getting you 90% of the way there instead of having you always start from scratch, because we have so much content ready to go. It just kind of needs your finishing touches on it. So I think that's a pretty cool partnership Axonify has with Vyond. So you can customize hundreds of Axonify topics, translate them into a variety or growing number of languages, and all of this information is available if you want to learn more about our content story. Head over to axonify.com/content. And that is about all the time I have with you today. But I thought the best way to wrap up our story was this awesome quote from our friends at Lowe's, who said, "You learn best when you're in the environment where you'll be applying the learning." So we wanted to get learning out on the floor, around the products, around the customers, around the people that you work with. And that's essentially what we do at Axonify. We bring learning and support to the frontline workforce so you can connect with the people who do the heavy lifting for your company and for your customers every day and get them the tools they need to be successful. So if you want to hear even more frontline stories, you want to hang out with me more, I do a talk show on LinkedIn Live every 2 weeks. This week, my friends from Merck are coming over. We're going to talk about the balancing act between pull and push learning. So you can find more about In the Know at axonify.com/ITK. It's a really fun 25 minutes every 2 weeks. And again, thank you so much for giving me the chance to share my story, to share our Axonify story, and to help you enable your frontline teams. So again, if you didn't get a question answered in the chat, I know I moved pretty quickly. Feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm at jdillon@axonify.com. I'm really easy to find on the internet. Or if you want to speak to a member of the team, learn more about the administrative side of Axonify and how we can help enable your frontline team, reach out at axonify.com/content. /connect. And oh, by the way, what did you have for dinner last Tuesday? And I know some of you may have known that top of mind, but maybe some of you had to think about it. And now that you know, if I asked you tomorrow or I asked you next week, you're going to remember that information. And essentially, that's what we do at Axonify. We make sure that people retain the information that you teach them so they're ready to make the right decisions on the job. So again, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for your passion for enabling your workforce, frontline and beyond. And thanks for hanging out with me. And with that, I'll hand things back to Alexandria. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, JD. That was awesome. And thank you to the Axonify team. Thank you, Matt, for answering lots of questions in the chat. And we are going to take one more, our very last 15-minute break of the day before we wrap up with our fifth and final demo here at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you in 15 minutes and we'll close out for the day with Skooks. See you then. Thanks all.